chapstick. It makes my lips so silky. Having lived as long as we have along the shores of Lake Erie, we've biked numerous day trips along these shores, but never given serious consideration to actually biking around the lake, until now. Lake Erie is one of 4 American Great Lakes that forms the border between the United States and Canada. Of the 5 Great Lakes, it is the smallest by volume and only slightly larger by land area than Lake Ontario. But biking around this lake suffers from a difficult logistical shortcoming. Reliable and safe bike border crossings on the western edge are extremely limited. There is only one bridge and a tunnel in the Detroit area, and neither allows bike traffic. The only bike-friendly crossing into Canada is the Walpole-Algonquin Ferry at the northern tip of Lake St. Clair, adding almost 150 miles to the loop. Already limited by trying to fit this ride into everyone's busy summer schedules, we decided to split Lake Erie into 2 rides, doing the North Shore first and taking a more typical bike route around the western edge. By using the Pelee Island Ferry from Sandusky, Ohio, we got a chance to camp on Pelee Island in the middle of Lake Erie while avoiding the mess of Detroit and the long way around Lake St. Clair. So on a sunny Saturday morning, our ride dropped us off in Sandusky, and after having a bite to eat along the water, we made our way to the dock where we boarded our ferry for the 90-minute ride to Pelee Island. At 16 square miles, Pelee Island is the biggest island in Lake Erie, and is host to a number of campgrounds along with 2 Canadian provincial parks. We spent the night in the East Park Campground and enjoyed walking the shores of the island under a full moon. At 9 a.m. the next day, we caught the first ferry off the island and enjoyed our 2-hour ride to the official bike starting point, Leamington. After a quick stop for an early lunch, we headed out with a target of Rondeau Provincial Park, 57 miles to the northeast. So we've left Leamington, I don't know. And we're taking some country roads. Basically, we're just heading east. We're trying to get to the lake and then follow the lake. For this part of Ontario, there's a lot of agriculture, so these roads have 0 shoulder, but traffic's fairly light as 2 cars go by. But it's about, like 35 mile an hour agricultural roads. We're good to go. So we didn't get off the ferry. The ferry left Pelee Island at 9 a.m. And we didn't get off the ferry basically till about 11. So a quick stop for some snacks. So we have 55 miles to do, and we're basically just starting before noon. Well, it started raining. So be it. We have a little bit of a detour. The road was closed, but I have no reason why it was closed. So we're going to go around it. We'll see how it goes. Despite a few stops for fresh fruit, weather, and some road closures, we pulled into Rondeau Provincial Park around 7 p.m., and despite the midnight showing of the 3 raccoon tenors, we slept well after the cooler temperatures that the rain brought. Within a few miles of our start on Monday morning, we came across another lakeshore road closure, but like all the rest, there were paths worn nearby by other bikes or pedestrians that got us around the closure without having to take a lengthy detour. We eventually made our way onto Route 3, but between the 15-mile-an-hour headwind, the fast traffic, and road shoulders that resembled a third-world country, we sought out some dirt roads that ran parallel to Route 3 to save our sanity. Well, I asked for it. More dirt roads. Well, we found them. We've actually had mostly dirt roads. We got off Route 3, found mostly dirt roads. But the dirt roads are, that's for certain, quiet. Little to no traffic. It's always an adventure. All told, this day was a 70-mile slog into the wind to our destination for the night, Springwater Conservation Area. So yesterday was a long slog. We didn't get started until about 9:30 in the morning because we had about a 66-mile day. The wind never stopped, 15 mile an hour, gusting to 25. Route 3 was so bad, no shoulder, so we got off of there, added extra miles to get on the dirt roads, which were wonderful. Got here late. We ate our dinner, went straight to bed. That was it. But this is Springwater Conservancy. It's actually a wonderful campsite. I think we're the only ones in this particular section. But today, we're heading out to Long Point, 44 miles, I think. So pretty easy. We're probably going to start around 9:30 again today. But much easier ride. We biked with the wind to our backs, down along some more dirt and eventually paved roads into Port Burwell to grab some lunch next to the HMCS Ojibwa, and to continue our ride along the water. I don't know how much of that sound is coming through the microphone, but man, these suckers are noisy. We still got a solid 15 mile an hour from the north, but we're heading east, so only a side wind. With the mileage of this day and the next equal to our long windy slog from Monday, we took our time and enjoyed the ride, getting into the Turtle Dunes Campground in Long Point Provincial Park with time to spare so we could enjoy the dunes and the lake. Wednesday, like the previous day, was another short day where we took our time and enjoyed the miles by first stopping for breakfast in Port Rowan, and then on to Port Dover, where we took a break from tent living and got ourselves some hotel rooms and treated ourselves to a grand dinner at the Cove Room restaurant in the Erie Beach Hotel. Port Dover is a great place to take a long break to stretch the legs and walk with no other purpose than to relax. But all good things must come to an end, and Thursday morning we were back in the saddle. Okay, Thursday, day 4, kind of 4. And we left Port Dover in our wonderful hotel, and man, we gorged ourselves last night at that restaurant. But now we're back. We got another night of camping. Byng Island Conservation Area, something like that. We only have 35, maybe 40 miles today. So having 2 short days back to back is a real gem. Last day, of course, Friday, is going to be about a 55, 60 miler. Very little to no wind today, so that's good. On this route, you frequently end up on like major roads just because they basically is the shortest distance. They'll take you a straight line somewhere. So when you do this route, it's best to really make use of things like Google Maps, Apple Maps, and zoom in and see where you can. Like in this case, we're heading straight south because we're right now probably 2-3 miles from the water, and we prefer, quite frankly, to bike along Lake Erie. So we're going to bike this 2-mile straightaway, and we'll pick up the coast road, and it's probably, marginally longer, mind you, but infinitely nicer. A lot of the roads that run straighter also just simply have a lot more traffic. Nice to get on a nice quiet country road like this one. Let's talk about logistics. The camping experience along this route was first rate. Every place we stayed had hot showers, clean bathrooms, and no noisy neighbors. The prices for the campsites were also fair for what you got. Food, on the other hand, was a little tougher. To the west of Leamington, the vast expanses of soybean and cornfields do not provide a wide variety of shopping choices. Most of the time, we had to leave the route along the water to find grocery stores or restaurants, so if you do this route, make sure you carry a few ready meals with you just in case. Water is, of course, never far from hand, and although we had the capacity to filter water, we never had to, with all of us carrying about 2 to 3 liters of water. The ride to Byng Island Conservation Area was one of the better days, as the road along the lake was peaceful and stress-free. Byng Island was another gem of a find, and we had another fantastic sight along the water. Good morning. It is the morning of our last day in the saddle for this trip. We got, I believe, 45-ish miles back to the Peace Bridge. And like yesterday, we can either do a straight line to the Peace Bridge on Route 3 here, which is, or, like yesterday, we can run down to the water's edge and probably add 4, maybe 5 miles to it. But talk about relaxing. It was really relaxing yesterday to get off the roads and be on these little residential roads along the water. So we're back along the water finally, off of Route 3, and And this is where it's at, man. It's so nice here. I would gladly add 3 or 4 miles to have this peace while I'm biking. We met some friends of ours in Port Colborne, and they joined us in the last miles along the Friendship Trail. It was not long before we finally started to see the Buffalo City skyline across the water and the Peace Bridge which would carry us over the Niagara River. Woohoo! Back in the U.S.! Alright, just cleared customs. On our way. Back at Canal Side, where we ended last year's Erie Canal ride. I think this is as good a place as any to wrap this up. Yippee-ki-yay.